Do you think that for other people seeing us at the sporting events or at the book fair or whatever also like takes some of the like fear out of
1,000,000%, and I was about to say that very thing.
You know, when a child is born into a family, it's a very exciting time, and the woman's pregnancy is a very exciting time, and everybody's very excited. And the birth of a child is sort of anticipated, and then it actually happens in most circumstances, and everybody comes together. And I feel like at times in our process, we feel like we were pregnant for 3.5 years.
Anybody who wants to go through the adoption process, it's such a majorly deliberate thing to do.
Like, people who just get to make a baby and it's their baby and they're done should have to go through these classes, because the way it made us talk and sort of going into it, sort of the knowledge base was really kind of great.
Doing the home study process in either path of domestic adoption or through state placement really causes you to do a lot of self-reflection.
We talked about all of our different possible avenues, but we just always came back to adoption.
There are so many kids that are already here.
Surrogacy was talked about for about 5 minutes for a couple reasons, I think. One, we're cheap.
Everybody's family is different, so he's just kind of grown up with his story, you know.
And we made sure he knew that it was a decision on her part that was made out of love.
I got an email from our son's teacher today saying, we're about to go into the making of the Mother's Day cards. What should we do? And I was like, well, every year he makes a birth mother's card along with everybody else. It just says birth mothers because he knows her, he loves her. It's all good, and then we give it to her.
We haven't experienced as of yet any sort of prejudice of any kind. I have been nervous about it. Going to a new event sometimes can feel like coming out.
It has been said, oh, you're the, like, clearly have been talked about as like...
It's like, oh, that you guys are those guys.
Somebody can look at our family and at 1 + 1 = 2, they figure it out.
Our kids are, all 3 of them. They're mixed race, they're adopted, and they're being raised by 2 women.
We want to do justice and do right by our children and make sure that they have everything that they need to be able to feel comfortable in their own skin.
The thing that I first defined myself as is a dad. I mean, it's grounded me. It's given me more of a purpose in my life.
We were together 10 years before we got married, and we had Charlotte before we got married, and I never thought anything of it. And my mom slipped at one point later on, and sort of recently, and said she was upset that we weren't married before Charlotte was born. And I was blown away.
I feel accepted more by your side of the family once we had kids. I really did.
When we had our son, I think it kind of upped their acceptance. Not that they weren't already accepting, but it just made everything for lack of a better term, normal.
As far as gender roles go, I don't really know.
Those are so old. Those are passé.
I feel like we're both nurturing. I feel like we're both mother and father.
It's much of a team approach, and I don't know if that's just our relationship or that we're 2 women.
Our careers have allowed us to, well, at least initially for the first several years, allowed us to take turns working or staying home.
And I think we would never have met a huge portion of this community if we didn't have kids in the schools.
Now gay marriage is legal, but I haven't seen that change birth parents or birth moms' expectation of what type of parent they want to raise their child. There's still a lot of judgment out there. There's still a lot of, nope, you're gay and stay away.
I think that same-sex marriage being passed federally and being recognized that way is a great step in the right direction.
Our son was born in Pennsylvania, which had different adoption laws, and the birth mother had to drive across the state line to New Jersey to sign New Jersey law so that we could take him home after 3 days instead of 30 days. Like, the state-by-state thing makes no sense.
It's going to be a very long-term societal change.